From being born to incredibly high expectations, to starring as one of the greatest characters in modern history, here's everything you need to know about Pablo Schreiber. If you're familiar with the blockbuster video game franchise, Halo, then you're probably also familiar with its main character, Master Chief. For an actor to bring such a character to life would be, well, in a word, challenging. You see, Master Chief's one of the more badass mythological characters in modern history. So, when Paramount began this project to bring Halo and Master Chief to the screen, they knew a perfect casting and portrayal of Master Chief was step one. After all, classic Halo fans would crucify the show if the role was anything less than perfect. So, who did Paramount turn to for this daunting task? Yep, you guessed it, Pablo Schreiber. But before he was playing the role of Master Chief and starring alongside Jessica Biel in the miniseries Candy, Schreiber was navigating a unique career in the film industry. So, in order to gain a better understanding of Pablo Schreiber's story, let's go back to the beginning. The very beginning. Pablo's father, Tel Schreiber, was an American theatrical actor, while his mother was a psychotherapist. I'd imagine that household was quite interesting. His father, being from a high-class family and graduating from Dartmouth, placed high expectations on Schreiber from a young age. And, considering where he is now, I'd say he did okay. But before starring in television shows and films, did you know that Pablo was a theatrical actor on Broadway? In fact, he earned a Tony nomination in his Broadway debut. Talk about setting the bar high. Pablo says, "I got nominated for a Tony in my Broadway debut, which was fascinating and thrilling and sort of unbelievable all at the same time." The nomination was for his role in Awake and Sing, where he was nominated for Best Featured Actor, alongside fellow actor Mark Ruffalo. You know, aka the Incredible Hulk. That Mark Ruffalo. Overall, it seemed Pablo was simply born to perform in theater. And this makes sense, considering he's even on record saying he prefers live theater acting. But what about his first big break on the big screen? Well, his earliest appearance actually took place years before starring on Broadway. Making a minor appearance in the 2001 film Bubble Boy, Schreiber would follow that up with a role in The Manchurian Candidate. Oh, and did I mention that his brother, Liev Schreiber, is also an actor? In fact, it was actually Liev who starred in this film, while Pablo would take a smaller role. Gotta start somewhere, right? Over the next decade, Pablo would land a number of supporting roles in films such as Lords of Dogtown, Knights of Rodanthe, Happy Thank You More Please, and more. In 2016, he finally got his lucky break, a chance to star in a film alongside co-star John Krasinski. You know, Jim Halpert from The Office. The film was 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi, directed by Michael Bay. Pablo gave an incredible performance, which was parlayed into starring in Den of Thieves just 2 years later. For this role, Pablo actually had to undergo extensive military training in order to get the movement of weapons handling and combat down to perfection. Talk about dedication. That same year in 2018, Pablo would co-star alongside Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the action thriller Skyscraper. All in all, Pablo's had a decorated career in the film industry. Much of this can be attributed to not only his talent in acting, but also his stature and demeanor. He stands at 6 foot 5 inches and shows an ability to manipulate his body for the role he's playing. Additionally, he's shown the ability to play the typical badass character seen in action movies. I mean, just take a look at him. I certainly wouldn't mess with him. But, as you might have noticed, his filmography seems to be lacking a bit, especially when you consider the roles he's recently landed, right? Well, movies are just a small part of his acting portfolio. In fact, his biggest roles have come by way of TV. Early in his career, Pablo made a name for himself in the television industry, which has continued to be his most lucrative path. He saw incredible success right off the bat in television, appearing in some of the biggest shows the world's ever seen. Shows such as The Wire, Law & Order, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Army Wives, the list goes on and on. But it wasn't until the 2010s that he'd really start to make a name for himself on TV. In 2013, he landed a recurring role on Netflix's hit show Orange is the New Black. For his role as George Pornstache Mendez, he was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Drama Series. This seems to be where Pablo's career took a turn, as he's mostly received roles in the main cast since this point. This brings us to the present day, where he's currently starring as Master Chief in Paramount's hit show, Halo. And believe it or not, he had no knowledge of the Halo storyline prior to landing this role. After landing the gig, Pablo knew he had some studying to do. He said that he actually played the Halo games in his younger days, but was never able to play the campaign, which is the game mode that the show's storyline is based on. So, his first stop after landing the gig was Seattle, Washington. He met with 343 Industries, the developers and creators of Halo. He went through a story boot camp, learning anything and everything he could about Halo. He even studied the performance of Steve Downes, the original voice of Master Chief in the video games. But his dedication to the role didn't stop there. Pablo actually flew out to Budapest, the site where the show is filmed, and went through a physical boot camp for a couple of weeks. Not only did he spend months getting his body in shape for this role, but he also had to learn how to wear the iconic Halo suit. He wanted to master the movements and make this show as seamless as possible for its loyal fans. And he didn't disappoint. Although the reviews for the show are mixed, most agree that Pablo Schreiber has delivered an excellent portrayal of Master Chief. And much like with all of his roles, this is due to his sheer tenacity and ability to leave the audience guessing. Pablo says, "My greatest desire as an actor is to keep people guessing and not do anything close to what I did last time." Bravo, Pablo. Bravo. So, what's next for this blossoming star? Well, Paramount's officially confirmed a Season 2 for Halo. And this'll clearly take up the majority of his time for filming and prepping. But considering he also starred in Candy alongside Jessica Biel in 2022, I'd say there's a chance for him to work on other projects during this time. One thing we know for sure is that he seems to become a fan favorite of every show he's in, even when he's playing the bad guy. Impressive! And what's even more impressive? Unlike most Hollywood stars, Schreiber's simply known for his work. Other than going through a divorce with his ex-wife back in 2014, he's pretty much never in the news for drama. In fact, other than a reported relationship with his Dancing with the Stars partner, there hasn't been much out there in terms of his dating life. Obviously, he's likely been active in the dating world. I mean, come on, he's Master Chief for God's sake. But he's been able to keep his personal life out of the news and away from the paparazzi. He's simply a single dad of 2 kids who daylights as Master Chief. Now that's a kick-ass life. And there you have it. From being born to incredibly high expectations to starring as one of the greatest characters in modern history, that's everything you need to know about Pablo Schreiber.